So over on this show called The View, which is just the most awful, most awkward, most terrible program perhaps on television. I mean, Joy Reid's might have been the worst. So this is now the worst. Like if it was second place, they've just moved up to first because Joy Reid was fired from MSNBC or unceremoniously let go or contract not renewed. I don't know how you want to say it, but The View had this episode this week and it got really, really awkward, like really awkward. And it's in part because of the guests that they brought on. His name is Anthony Weiner. Remember that was, George Soros, Alex Soros, the kid. He married Huma Abedin. Huma Abedin was the spouse of Anthony Weiner. I mean, just crazy, mind-boggling scandal there, right? Like, it's still early in the day. We don't need to get into the great details. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they went there at like 11 a.m. or whenever this show is on The View, and it's uncomfortable. And I think that at some point, this is really truly soon going to haunt them because I'm hearing internal rumblings that Disney is really tired of ABC overall, desperate to get rid of the place, and no wonder.
You've had numerous of them. You resigned from Congress in 2011 over a sexting scandal. 2 years later, you stepped down from the mayoral race after sexting again under the alias Carlos Danger. And then in 2016, you sent lewd texts to a minor and served 15 months in prison, in addition to becoming a registered sex offender. So with all that said, why do you think, or why should New Yorkers give you a chance at a political comeback?
Well, let me just say this. I mean, all of that happened, and I accept responsibility for it. You won't hear me do what some other people in public life have done, Donald Trump or Andrew Cuomo or Eric Adams. I'm a victim. They persecuted me for no reason. I was dealing with very serious problems. I was dealing with what I now understand to be addiction. I lost my brother Seth to addiction. And I accepted. I didn't ask for a trial. I pled guilty, served my time in prison, served in a halfway house, served probation, went to try to do good work for the formerly incarcerated. And I guess what I'm saying to people is, maybe don't vote for me in spite of what they know about me, but maybe consider that journey, that idea that we all go through things and we come out the other side. And also, what does it mean? You know, I'm Jewish, but they have this notion in Catholicism around you suffer for a reason so you can be of service at the other end. So I'm not asking people, I'm doing the opposite of what a lot of politicians do when they're in my position. Ignore that problem, pretend it didn't happen, blame someone else. I am saying, yes, I did these things. I got into recovery. I tried to make my life better. And now if I can be of service, and I'm a damn good politician. I come up with answers. Yep. I talk to people directly.
You are.
I don't try to butter over things. I try to be direct. Then why shouldn't I? And if it's just because I have bad things in my past, that's not a good enough reason. I mean, look, all I can ever be is who I am right now. Yeah. And that brought me to this space.
Congressman, so there's a growing sense of just general distrust in elected officials. Take the New York Democratic mayoral race alone. You have Eric Adams, his corruption charges, which were then dropped by the Trump DOJ. Former Governor Cuomo resigning over sexual harassment allegations. Scott Stringer has also been accused of sexual harassment. Now, they all deny these allegations. Do you understand why so many Americans just feel so disillusioned with politics?
Yeah, I mean, and Donald Trump is a 34 times felon. And look, I think,
right. We'll pick that up on the other side. I have something to say. I mean, this guy's unbelievable, just unbelievable. He's thinking, oh, well, you know, Donald Trump, if they went after him. Like, I don't think Donald Trump got caught doing the kinds of stuff that you were doing, Weeder, baby.
You know, you can draw two conclusions. One is people don't care. I don't believe that. I think people do care. But I do think there is some success to this idea of trying to convince enough people that you've somehow been persecuted. And I think what politicians sometimes don't realize is voters don't expect you to be some kind of paradigm of greatness. They want you to be an honest, authentic, full person, okay? Yeah. And I don't think that voters are like, I like Donald Trump because he was a felon. They're just prepared to overlook it for whatever reason. I think if Donald Trump or Cuomo or Adams would say, you know what? I messed up. I made a mistake. I had whatever motivation. I pursued this in the wrong way. And from that, I am here. If they would say that, I think voters would embrace them. I don't think it is a way, Anna knows this, you know this. We are very often told by consultants, never say the word I'm sorry. Yeah. Because it becomes an ad and it becomes, no, I think that in all of our lives, we've had moments where like, I think I should go say I'm sorry. And so that's what I think politicians should do more often.
Well, you call.
Do you guys think that worked? Do you actually believe or buy any of that? Or do you think that The View is now putting itself again in jeopardy? In terms of Anthony Weiner, like I still can't get beyond the name. Have I told you the story? So I was an anchor on CNBC, and he came on my program like days before this all went down. So this was quite a few years ago. And I actually speak a little bit of German. And so in German, you would say Weiner. And I get into this fight with my producer. I'm like, that's not, nobody really knew of him that back then. I'm like, that's not how you say his name. It's Weiner. There's no way it's Anthony Weiner, okay? Like, trust me, I'm not saying Weiner on the air. Like, it's Anthony Weiner. And he's like, no, Trish, it's Weiner. So we're having this going back and forth. And finally, like I think he got on, and I spoke to one of the press people or something. I'm like, can you tell me how to pronounce his name? And they said, Weiner. And I'm like, man, like that guy's dealing with some baggage. And he probably has been for a long time. I'm like, I know I'm acting like a little boy in 5th grade, but come on, like, that's what I'm changing my name to, Weiner or Weiner or something. I mean, it's something better than Weiner. Anyway, back to The View for a moment. So it's been holding up okay in the ratings, but they've been realizing in this transition at Disney that they're going through in terms of, what the reality of the media landscape is that is a very, very expensive show. It's an expensive show to produce. You got Whoopi's salary and Joy's salary, all these people, right? You're dealing with massive egos, which I'm sure is a pain in the neck and a problem, because how many women are on that set? Like 5 of them, and they're coming in and out. And I guarantee you and I know people that have worked on the show, so I actually have a lot of inside knowledge on this, and Meghan McCain was on there and Abby was on there. I mean, miserable place. Like, you could not pay me enough, right, to ever go on a show like that, because it's just going to be miserable. Even if you were all in agreement on things, you get 5 women, all of whom have sharp elbows, trying to basically be the center of attention. So it's a headache from that standpoint. It's a headache from the financial standpoint of, 1, the big salaries that they're paying, and 2, the production staff, because what goes into producing a show like that with the live studio audience and the person holding up the applaud now sign, etc., is massive. So financially speaking, it's actually quite cumbersome. And so then you have to start to say, wait a second, there's also this shift going on in news. Look at what we're seeing, what we're dealing with. You guys are here, right? You're here for a reason, because there's a transparency, there's an honesty and a truth here that you're going to get that you can't necessarily get at those big fancy networks with their studio audiences, etc. And so increasingly people are migrating to these platforms. And so for years, Bloomberg had a great article over the weekend on this. For years, places like YouTube were trying to convince advertisers, hey, you know what? If you actually want to reach your specific demo, you got to come over here. And they're like, no. We're going to be over on The View, right? Because it's all sane and pretty and great over on The View. And I think what they're learning is, 1, you're not going to find the person you need to find, right? Because the commercials are just a different genre, and people change the channel during the commercials, and you don't have the stickiness that you have here on the Trish Regan show. And as a result of all of these things, you're not getting as much bang for your buck. So advertisers have scaled back, and they have moved dollars over to platforms like YouTube, where you can actually sort of go after the person you want to go after with greater precision. And that's the future of the media. And the other component of that is just the future of the media being independent and not having to deal with the studio audiences. And I mean, unless we wanted one, right? And it's a very, very different experience, I think, over here. And it's certainly been rewarding for me. And I'm super psyched that we're in the top 100 and all that stuff right now. But again, I get back to whether or not ABC as an entity can continue on with Disney. And Disney knows it has to change this. It's looking at opportunity with ESPN. People will pay for sports, okay? They'll pay for sports because, I know you guys, you need your sports, right? You need to watch these athletic games. So that's a model that will actually work in terms of a subscription service. But are they going to pay for The View? I'll ask you. Let me look at your comments. Like, are they going to pay for The View? Are you going to pay to have that show in your house? I don't think so. So this is where they're realizing, if you would, this is where, and thank you, Psychological Protectionist, for your generosity. This is where they're now realizing that they can't make a go of it with these old-fashioned news organizations and the bad programs that they keep on spitting out.